So I found out that Lesuga and I literally live minutes away from each other, which is really interesting because who would have thought? So we went out because we literally hadn't seen each other since last year.
Why are you crying? This hot.
We got some gelato and then we went to Tiger's Milk. We were in the streets where Camps Bay is. And then afterwards we went to the beach because why not? I think I'm becoming really fond of the beach, which is very interesting because I'm very afraid of water. I do have to say that I was quite disappointed in the drinks at Tiger's Milk and the food as well. Like the pizza was okay, but everything else, no. And this is I think I've tried 3 Tiger's Milks and it's really not that great. Vlogged like in such a long time because life has been crazy. So much has happened. Then we headed home and had dinner with the family and we made s'mores. Such a Disney thing to make, and it's not something I would make like if someone had forced me to, but like I thought it was cute. Life while I was working literally consisted of me finding myself exhausted every day. We sometimes went to eat and get a drink while we were waiting for the traffic to die down a bit. Oh my gosh. I don't think anyone could have prepared me for the level of exhaustion that I experienced. And also trying to figure out a life balance between studying and working is a sport. So I had been saying that 2023 would be the year I go to Investec. I remember Boitumelo and I were saying that next year we're going to Cape Town Investec Art Fair. And life said, say less. I was working at Investec, so the times I walked around, my main priority was to see works by Black artists, especially Black women artists. That will forever be my priority, no matter what. And I really, really loved it. I wish I had more time to spend like looking at the arts and everything, but it was so insanely overwhelming. I thought F&B Art Fair was overwhelming. This one, I just didn't know where to begin, to be honest. I didn't even get through half of the show, and I don't think I went through half of the space at all. But these are some of the people that I think you should look out for in terms of everything that's going on in the world, in terms of art. I don't want to say in South Africa because some aren't South African. this painting in particular made me think about my introduction to art history, because some of these figures, the way they positioned, make me think of the classical ways like some paintings in the past used to be. I was working at SMAC for Investec Cape Town Art Fair 2023, and I was working in Simpiwe Butelezi's booth. I didn't actually take videos of my booth, I think, but it was gorgeous nonetheless. And these are some of the artists that we have, well, not we, I mean SMAC has in their gallery. So my cousins went to the Oranjezig market and they got me a balban, and then I went to Kauai and got myself a smoothie for balance. And this teddy bear was so cute. Okay, it looked edible. And this was the end of Investec. Like, it's so crazy. It was so crazy seeing galleries take down their stuff, and it was just like, oh my gosh, it looked like nothing had happened. after such a chaotic week. It was the most insane experience of my life. I learned so much about the art industry that I don't think in my life I would have ever learned if it wasn't for this. I think the strangest thing was that I was not socially anxious. I got over it.
So Investec was last week, right? And then I got sick, and I'm currently bedridden. I have an ear infection, I've got flu, and lovely. Investec was so overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was just so much to see, and if you're a person who gets overly stimulated, you would have been so overly stimulated by everything that was going on. But it was quite nice. Like, I didn't see much. I tried to see as much as I could, but there were so many galleries I just didn't get the chance to. But what I did make a point to go see were some of my favorite black artists, black South African artists to be more specific. And guys, there's just so much that one can do, and so much that one has to go through, and you just don't know how you're gonna do it. But at least I did some, and you'll see in some of the clips from the video. But what I'm gonna say is, right now I'm not grand, like, at all. There's nothing in this life that I hate more than being sick. I just can't. But I enjoyed it. I really did. Need another experience like that again. It's so crazy how much you learn in the span of a week. I learned so much about the industry in the span of the week that I don't even think school could have taught me. Like, it's highly unlikely, but it was quite fun, and hopefully next year I get to see more art galleries and more artist work. But people are very talented, people are such great artists. That's all I can say. It's beautiful to see, especially the women coming up in the industry, especially the black women coming up in the industry. Love it. What Investec makes me think of is how there are certain things that black artists are trying to do in terms of rewriting narratives and everything, and the one thing we need to think about when it comes to that is where we find ourselves in the type of space that we find ourselves when we're trying to rewrite these narratives. For example, if, let's say, you're trying to subvert a patriarchal white gaze, right? If you put yourself back in a white gallery, does that not do the opposite of what it is that you're trying to do, because you're setting yourself in the exact same space that you're trying to subvert? I don't know, it just made me think about that. I don't know. I think location, in terms of where you put your art and the message that you're trying to evoke, is quite important. And I didn't think about this earlier, but I mean, I'm learning as I go. But it's quite important. If you're trying to do something, you need to put it in a space that helps your voice as an artist, and not somewhat plays, or what is the word, not in a space where you're sort of gonna feel like your efforts are not I'm drawing blank. Not in a space where you sort of feel like your efforts are going unnoticed. Because there was an artwork that was opposite me, and everyone kept asking me how I felt about it, and I was just like, why? There was a lady who walked up to me who was white, and she was so mad about the fact that there was a large body of work with black women who were not they were not clothed, so they were nude. And she was just so appalled by it, and when she was speaking, I just didn't understand why she was appalled by it, because I don't understand. My brain just couldn't understand why she was upset about it. and she kept asking me how I felt about it, and I was just like, it is what it is, because I just didn't want to go into the politics of it. And it really made me think about how, because I read up on the artist who made the work, it made me think about how the narratives, or what it is that artists try to do, also needs to be like, the location of where you put your work also needs to be thought about. Like, there's so much thought that actually needs to be that actually needs to be thought. There are so many things that need to be thought of, like, thoroughly, that you don't really know, and you only learn as time goes on. Like, if you want to do something, you have to think about how it's going to be received in a certain space. And for me, I was watching the audience more than anything, because they were just in front of me, and there was no way not to watch, right? And the one thing I felt like that piece was doing was just honestly going against what the artist's intention was with the piece, because it just felt like people were exoticizing black women yet again. And as much as she was trying to subvert it, it wasn't working, given the space that the work was in. I'd understand if it was in a black gallery. I feel like it did matter what type of gallery the art piece was in, because it sort of helps feed into the narrative that the artist is trying to create. But because it was in a white gallery, it didn't 100% help her and her vision at all. Like, I just felt like it didn't help. But that's also my opinion, you know, how I'm seeing something. Other people can see things how they feel they want to see, and how, like, I feel like art is open to interpretation, obviously, but that's just how I felt about it. And yeah,
I'm about to heat damage my hair. Lovely.
So that was not what I anticipated. All I'm gonna say is, as a black person, I need my hair done by a black person. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. I hated, when I tell you I hated my hair, I hated it. I wore a do-rag, I wore a doek for the next, I think, 2 weeks, because I hated it. I think it's safe to say that I'm growing fond of the beach. So we went to Dabatsahat, and it was so beautiful. But yo, Asana, the baboons. Okay, it's not that bad. It's a bit warmer.
He's standing for a while.
Yeah.
Beach day. Stunning.
Can you get my keys?
Taking into consideration that I was sick this whole week, this was the best way to end that week.